What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. I am your host, Justin Harold, and with me, as always, my co-host, Jeff Santa. Today, we are bringing you the Week 3 preview for the Cleveland Browns Thursday night matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers, coming back right after the most disappointing loss I think we've had as a Browns team, Browns fan base in a long, long time.
Yes.
And it's only not even 2 days fully removed from that. Actually, technically 2 days, almost there, almost 48 hours removed from that, whatever it was, and 48 hours until the next game. So we're in great shape. The Browns seem to be in great shape if you've been following on Twitter and everything. The fan base doing great. Just a bunch of geniuses who should be the coaches and GMs and whatnot, and should practically just take over the team. So, Jeff, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Best week so far of the year to have a short week. You rally behind the team because you only have to think about this loss against the Jets for Monday, Tuesday, and tomorrow. You're not even thinking about it because we're already thinking about Thursday. So here we go. The good thing about playing for the Cleveland Browns, me and you know best, it's really what have you done for me recently as far as the fans. If you come out and you beat the Steelers on Thursday night football prime time, which is going to be difficult to do. Yes. I don't care how bad Mitch Trubisky looks. Oh, you should. I work in basically not Pittsburgh, but I work in the greater Pittsburgh area. That's where I'm living. You should hear the local radio. It's hilarious. It's actually great. Mitch Trubisky sucks. Matt Canada needs fired. Their offensive coordinator. They stop. Their local radio sounds just like our local radio. It's going to be a great Thursday night football game.
That's impressive. That's what you're hearing out in PA. It's almost
hilarious.
Like what you could hear year in and year out with ours. So don't know really where to start with this. Obviously, I think one thing is, Jeff, we can we got on after Sunday pretty much immediately, 2 hours after maybe, so wasn't enough time to fully digest. But any new thoughts since Sunday about Sunday's game?
Not really, not anything genuinely new besides what we've already talked about, what we've already known. I think it's just what else can go wrong in the secondary. I don't want to find out. I just want the secondary to not, even if they give up, let's say we give up 30 points on Thursday. If we just don't give up any big plays, it might be an improvement. Maybe. If we're giving up chunk plays left and right, it's still going to be bad, but it's like, can we not give up a 50-plus yard touchdown? That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for all this crazy stuff. Let's just be on the same page. Can we keep the green dot the same? That's the new thought.
Yeah, that's a big one. I rather have teams hit the big ones on us, like breakdowns, in terms of like just knowing that it's not going to be a thing where they can drive on us. Although third down is just non-existent for us in terms of getting off the field. So who knows if that's even something to talk about. But yeah, for me, it's just still sitting here. I love and it's not really new thoughts based off of just Sunday, but, being on Twitter, being on the Bird app, and, Twitter essentially making for Nick Chubb having to apologize to the fan base and everything, just utterly ridiculous. Can't believe, him having to say that, we're up 2 scores. That one's on me, that don't know how it comes down to that, but it is what it is. You got Jim Donovan, of all people, who probably shouldn't, realistically stick his neck out the way he did.
Correct.
To criticize Miles in terms of Miles's comments about the fans, but he was spot on. I mean, you can't be any more spot on, and from a guy who, one, doesn't need to be going out there and saying that for the sake of his job. I don't know that his job is in jeopardy of him speaking out, but
no.
in one of those cases where it's like, that's a pretty respected guy in terms of Browns fans, and Miles is also a respected player amongst Browns fans. So it's interesting that you get that kind of dynamic there. But
I've just never understood players like coming at the fans. Like, okay, if you want to use your platform to say the fans were like, don't say booing is disrespectful. Like, if you had an individual interaction with the fan, fine. If you want to complain about the refs, fine. If you want to even maybe throw shade at the coaching staff, maybe I'll let that slide if it's justified. But it's like, this is what I'm going to say. Being Browns fans for so long, we get it. If you don't want to be great, we get it. We've seen too many teams who we knew that they weren't great, didn't want to be great, whatever. We know this group of guys could be great. So if you don't want to be great, just go out there and don't be great. Just get mopped up and down the field. Nothing new for us. I mean, in the past 2 years, it's like wildly shocking because expectations have somewhat turned around, but it's like we shouldn't be losing games like this. Like, that's a game you lose under Hugh Jackson, not Kevin Stefanski. Correct. But it's like, go out there, win your reps, and be great. That's all I'm asking for. If you don't want to do that, if you don't want to perform, it's going to be skin off my back in the moment because I'm an avid fan. But it's like, okay, been there, 1-31. You're not showing anything. You're not showing the fans anything we haven't seen.
Yeah, I thought I didn't think about this, in the moment and right on Sunday, but this is quite literally like statements that Baker Mayfield made last season and seasons before, and got completely torn apart for, and rightly so, because again, at the same time, Miles, Baker, it doesn't make any difference. It's
Don't
still
matter.
the same argument, and it's still ludicrous. And if you guys haven't seen that video, I don't know where it's from exactly, but with Jim Donovan talking, it
was post game on the field, wasn't it?
No, this is one that was after that. I saw the one where he was on the field, but there was one even after that where I think he was on some sort of show, and he talks about going to have to do like the honor dinner or whatever. So, and this was like after that and after the game. So
wow.
But it was pretty well summed up for like the idea of like what the player / fan base relationship is, because it's very well done, and I think if you haven't seen it, you should go look for it. But at the end of the day, I want to move on from that, like,
for sure.
But it's like crazy that you have the Denzel and the Grant Delpit talking like football issues, and then you have the Batonio and Miles talking about the fans booing issue, and it's like it already feels like 2 games into the season, like the team is already like split in the locker room. Not necessarily like split.
It's just like obviously a mess. Like, people are talking, like you said, about football, and then they're talking about the fans. Like, which one is it? Let's keep it to the football. And even if you don't want to answer questions about the football, because you don't, when you make a mistake, I mean, it's going to be like, oh, tough to sit at the podium and be like, oh, I did this, I did that, we could have done this better, whatever. But as far as this upcoming week, and I don't want them to get their offensive game right against us. But from what I've heard in 2 weeks is that this Steelers offense doesn't take chances down the field. Trubisky sounds like Brissett. No air yards to speak of. No big chances. Apparently they have a couple design runs for him, and he's even looked skittish on those. So I'm hoping it's a good matchup, because if you don't want to take shots downfield, that's what's burned us, is the shots downfield.
Yeah. Well, in terms of going into this game, it's like you just have the worst situation possible right now. As of right now, injury report or pre-practice injury report. This is the only thing I found right now. It's from Mary Kay. Joe Batonio, biceps. Jadeveon Clowney, he's already ruled out. So when I saw that, I immediately sent that to Jeff and said, that's an L. We're losing this week. I didn't say that exactly. I just said L, but I know he knows what I meant. And then Myles Garrett, neck, and Chase Winovich got sent to the IR. So your defensive line sucks. Just absolutely. If Miles doesn't play, this is game over. Straight up game over. Like, they shouldn't even walk out of the field. It won't matter.
I mean, yeah, I would say maybe. I already tweeted out this morning that, go follow us over at Paul's Cleveland on Twitter. I already tweeted out we're going to need the best game of Alex Wright's career, his whole entire football career, and Perrion Winfrey if he decides to play, his whole entire football career if we want to be competent. Because besides that, Alex Wright's going to start. If Miles don't play, they're not going to have TJ Watt, but I don't know what their defense looks like if they can't get home to the quarterback. Obviously, you still have Minka Fitzpatrick, who's going to be the best defender at a sole position in an individualized fashion that Jacoby has seen all year. And it's like, if you don't look him off the ball, he's going to have interceptions. He's going to make plays on the ball. He's going to be physical with our wide receivers, who are often skittish. So, I mean, yeah, you're going to have to just hope everybody plays as far as Batonio and Miles.
Yeah. And I mean, even if Batonio didn't play, I wouldn't be worried. But like, it's the thing where like, yeah, does Miles like have a tendency to disappear in the big moments as of right now? Yeah, he does. But at least like in the beginning of the games and somewhat in the middle, like teams take him seriously and are like, all right, we need to double him or whatever, or he gets to play in, you know, the first 3 quarters, whatever it may be. But it's tough. I mean, offensively, like I'm worried just because I know that team is defensively sound for the most part.
Nope.
And when it comes to us, again, Mike Tomlin, Brian Flores, 2 amazing coaches in their own right. Both should be head coaches for their own respective teams. Mike Tomlin obviously has been for a long time and will continue to be so. And then you're looking over at us and we're like, all right, after Thursday, if we lose this game, who's going to be on the coaching staff afterwards? I mean, obviously Kevin Stefanski will be, but like, if Joe Woods gone, what happens? Who moves into Joe Woods' spot if that's, you know, the move? And then it's rough. It's just rough to think about because, like you said, offensively for the Steelers, they don't look hot, but it doesn't matter because our defense is the exact same way. They don't look hot. They give up 3rd downs to Joe Flacco and the Jets and easy touchdowns. It's just,
we're doing this thing again where I can't trust PFF either, because according to PFF, through the first 2 weeks, we have some of the best graded defensive players in the entire league, like 2 out of the top
Clowney
10.
And Miles are like,
and like
top 10 defensive.
Jacob Phillips is grading terribly. Like Taki is graded.
Denzel gave up 100 yards.
Correct. And it's like, I don't know what has to happen, but something has to happen. That's been my mindset this whole week. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you got to bring more pressure. We know Joe Woods isn't going to do that. If you got to use Koromoa differently, if you got to get the green dot. Why
doesn't Koromoa just get the green dot? If you're going to make it a line, if you're going to just make it a linebacker for, because they're in the middle of the field and they're going to give they're going to give the signals to everyone better. Like, I've never known with DBs how it really works. I know like the front 7 is pretty intertwined in like what they're going to do in terms of the pass rush. But I know in the NFL, like obviously linebackers do way more coverage stuff. So it's like, yeah, all right, maybe everyone needs to be looking towards the middle, and that's just easier.
For how bad we actually acknowledge our D tackles are, there has been rare amounts of disconnect besides maybe the wide open touchdown play this week that was thrown to the running back against the Jets. There has not been a lot of disconnect between the defensive line and the linebackers. It's our safeties and our corners.
Yep.
They're not in the same zone. They're not in the same coverage, whatever it may be. I don't know how it's possible 3 straight weeks in a row. It cannot be possible. Jobs will be lost. Joe Woods will be gone if we're giving up bombs to Mitch Trubisky and whoever. We don't have these, they're not pushover wide receivers. We talk about them all the time. They're going to be good. And I mean, at the end of the day, I want to say these teams are evenly matched, but I don't know if that's going to translate on paper or on to the scoreboard.
Well, on paper, like I've been saying it all year, or for a long time now, you have like a top 5, top 10 roster with this team, regardless of who your quarterback is right this moment. Your offensive weapons are still, your offensive line is still top 5, top 10. Your running back combo is number 1, number 2, or number 3. Not to mention the starting running back is top 3, top 5. You have a wide receiver who last week made guys look silly, made guys look like he was just invisible in Amari Cooper. Donovan Peoples-Jones is serviceable. Now, when
if you throw to him,
it's you're right, and that's I was going to get into that with Njoku is like, he has the one drop, but like the utilization of these offensive players is just like baffling. It's been baffling for maybe 2 years now because
It's
outside of
baffling because
Chargers,
it's different every week. It's like, how do we
that's the
not know?
problem.
Like, we don't have any roles. It's like wide receiver one. Like, okay, like we've talked about this. If Njoku is out there to be a blocker, like it's just criminal that you pay a guy that you're not even going to throw to. But if he's the best blocking tight end in the league, justify the money, whatever you have to do. But it's like, is DPJ your go-to guy on third down? Is DPJ your go-to guy in the red zone? Is DPJ this? Is DPJ that? He's nothing. He's none of these things. It's like, okay, if the stars align, he has 80 yards. If the stars align, Amari Cooper has 100 yards. Great game. I think Cooper is going to be serviceable if he stays healthy all year. I think you see him have another 100-yard game. I do.
I mean, I would hope. It's just, and then you go to the defensive side, and you got Joe Woods, who last year, the first, and who knows, we could be having the exact same conversation we had for the first 8 to 9 games of last season, where it was like, this defense is awfully inconsistent.
Sure.
And then the same thing right now, where we're like, the defense is awfully inconsistent.
Mhm.
And if they just didn't give up the big plays, we'd never be in situations where your rookie kickers got to go out and win you a game, and your special teams unit has to go and just get an onside kick, which is baffling as well. But
that's the NFL, though. 2 plays. If Baker to Robbie Anderson doesn't happen, if Joe Flacco to Garrett Wilson doesn't happen, we're talking about this defense as one of the top 2 defenses and top 5 defenses in the league. I mean, kind of weirdly enough. I mean, maybe not that high, but it's like
the talent is there.
The 2 plays just sit so sour in your mouth because it's just how it goes. Like, that's how football is. And at the end of the day, should you be 2-0? Yes.
Yeah.
Could you have been 0-2? Sure. You could have been both. But it's like starting off 0-2. We talk about it for the last however many 3-4 seasons we've covered Browns football. Starting off 0-2 is so hard. Bengals are 0-2. Raiders are 0-2. Titans are 0-2.
That is the only thankful thing that we
the AFC is still wide open. We have these good to great teams. You know, you thought the Raiders had a chance to maybe win the AFC West. Of course, they still do. You know, if you rattle off 10 in a row and you end up 10-2, it's like
4.
But you get to 0-2 is so hard to come back from. You got to survive for the first 2 weeks with at least a split minimum. And good teams, great teams do that. So we got hope. We got faith.
Yeah. Jeff, what else is there? What is your expectation for this game? Realistically, I just can't go into this game and think it's going to be all hunky-dory.
No.
And we haven't been hunky-dory about it. But I can't realistically get on the boat like everyone else is and be like, it doesn't matter what happened in the Jets game. If you go out and you win this game, it's all past you, blah, 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 whatever. Like that's a matter of the fact afterwards, but
sure,
going into it, it's very hard for me to believe that that's going to be the case. Like you're outgunned almost in every aspect of this game outside of the talent that you have in players. It's just like coaching means so much. And you've said it plenty of times before with Baker, and now I have to like question it with Kevin. Is like, how many times does Kevin actually beat the better coaches in this league? Like how often is that? How is his record against Mike Tomlin? You know, outside of the one playoff game where he doesn't even coach technically, and we annihilate them. We got like 1 game, 2 games, maybe.
My expectation really just overall, because I don't even know what to say about the defense. I just expect Brissett to give you the same, similar to what he gave you last week. That's my expectations. Let's throw out the turnover at last second. He shouldn't even been throwing the ball. Keep the ball safe. Make sure that their defense isn't running wild and they have all the momentum in first energy. Like I expect to win time of possession and win the momentum game. Have our fans involved the whole game where it's not like, 60-yard bomb, everyone's quiet. Like, no, just like let's win the momentum game, win time of possession, win the ball game.
I would like for us to have a 30-play script, so that
60.
I would like for us to not have to just like, because we got to 14 and we scored, and then after that, it's like it was rough sledding at times. So, Jeff, prediction. What do you got?
I do this. I feel like I do this every year with one game. 23-23 tie. We're both 1-1-1. That only makes sense to me as far as how Roger Goodell script things. 23-23 Tie.
I'll lose my absolute mind at First Energy if that's the case.
It's
I'd have
primetime game, AFC matchup. We're both 1-1. Just put us both to 1-1. It'll make the division so much more fun.
So the last time the Browns had a primetime Thursday night game in the opening part of the season, I believe was against the Bengals that I went to, and we did pretty good. It was Joe Burrow's first game against the Browns, and we did pretty good. So I think he threw for like 50 times that game. It was ludicrous, but I'm going to go with the loss here, and I'm going to say Browns 17, Steelers 20.
That's fair.
I just don't know that I feel like it could very well be 14-14 the entire game, and you get to the fourth quarter and Browns score with like 13 minutes left, score field goal, and then it's like boom, they just go and they kick a field goal, they stop us on deep or they stop us on offense. They go score another field goal, and then we have little time, and we get put in the same position that we got last week. So
you don't want another game. Just every week, you don't want to fall behind. That's just going to be the model with our offense, which is we've been doing a good job with. I mean, if you keep going up early, I think you put yourself in good chances to win every week. My expectations, as far as likelihood of things happening, is that I got it. Each team being able to score on like the last drive and win is like close to the top, and then I have. Less likely than that is us blowing them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then less likely than that, or no. Like it's more likely that they blow us out, I think, and we're in a total mess than us blowing them out and they're in a total mess as far as the upcoming week, let's say after this game. I don't think that's impossible. I think that's actually, there's like a 10-15% chance we smoke them and they're like, oh, Tomlin sucks, Matt Canada fired, where's Kenny Pickett? I could see that. It's just not as likely as them kind of, oh, they score on the first drive and then they pick 6%. Now it's 14-0, and now we go 3 and out, and now they kick a field goal 17-0. We never even had a chance.
I could realistically see Miles getting like a sack in the first or second quarter and knocking Trubisky out of the game, and Kenny Pickett coming in and somehow like lighting us up.
Fair enough.
I could see that being a possibility, and like realistically just being like the nail in the coffin for me is like not the nail in the coffin, but like just an absolute like heartbreaker is like, of course you knock out their number one guy and then boom, the other dude that comes in lights us up, because we've seen dudes do that before. We've seen guys like Tyler Huntley come in and do a very serviceable job against us and whatnot. So,
for sure.
But yeah, I'm going 2017. They missed. I'm just gonna say they missed an extra point and give us hope of kicking a field goal to tie it, and we just never get into position for it. So
fair enough. Hopefully, it's a good one.
All right, everyone. Well, if you made it this far into this video and into this prediction, I suppose, and a little bit of still lamenting on Sunday's performance, we'll call it. Make sure you guys are leaving comments, leaving likes. Tell us how you guys feel going into this game, how you're still feeling Tuesday, or whenever this is posted, Tuesday, Wednesday, and hopefully we'll come back Friday with a video that'll be about the Browns winning, because I will either be rejoicing all Thursday night or I'll be in severe depression.
Correct.
So that's how it'll be. But with that all being said, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.